This is the K-Pop Cast, and tonight we're reviewing the Head in the Clouds Festival with DJ John. Welcome back to the show. Woo! We also share, welcome back. We love having DJ John. We also share hit replays from Stacey, NMIXX, Street Woman Fighter, and new group Hit G's.
Hey, but before we get into that, guys, don't forget to join the K-Pop Cast listener fam on Slack and chip in for the show costs. Links to everything in the episode description. Let's get into it. I'm so excited.
I'm Stephanie.
I'm DJ John.
And I am your Pina Michaela, guys. And hit replays are our K-pop song recommendations for the week. And DJ John, what's your hit replay? What is this gem of a replay that you brought for us today?
This is, I just put a smile on my face. I just laughed all the way through. It was a belly laugh record by Hitgz. I don't know how to pronounce it. Hitgs. Is it Hitgs? I don't even know how to pronounce Hitgs.
This mess is literally gonna make me throw up. That's gross. That's gross. Feet away from me. Get the feet away from me. Get the feet away from me. That's gross. 너 때문에 자꾸 아픈 머리. That's gross. 한숨도 못 자도 안 졸려 머지. That's gross. Get the feet away from me. Get the feet away from me. Get the feet.
Which you think? Thankfully, you put hip, innocent teenager girls and story. That's what it stands for. Hilarious. Number one, that's hilarious. And number two, this video, his name is, I mean, we had gnarly before and now we have gross. So,
Right.
very funny video to me anyway. I don't know if they're trying to be that funny, but that's the whole thing of K-pop is like, is it lost in translation? It's ambiguous, kind of, but I think they're being funny. And they're just saying how boys are gross. They're like, ew, get away from me.
Get that feel away from me.
Yeah.
That's gross, yeah.
Anyway, that is hilarious. Just really hilarious. So that's why it's in my hit replay.
Yes, exactly. I loved it. I love it for all. I love the get the feel away from me. I love.
Yeah.
Ew, it's making me gonna want to barf. Like it's just. I love. I'm like yes, please. Yeah, boys have cooties.
Totally. And it's like, what is
so,
this feeling that I'm having, and why do I like it,
cute,
but I hate it? It's so
fun.
hilarious.
And then with the acronym name for the group, it feels like we talked about Stephanie with Joe that we were losing recipes. I think we're gaining recipes with this group.
Are we?
Yeah.
Love how innocent is in there.
Yeah. Very, very innocent, very young group. Unfortunately, I feel like this is our
what
first...
ages are in here? What are we?
We have a
at?
2010 liner in this.
No.
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
Youngest.
That's
oh yeah.
Not allowed.
But it's funny because it's like their last record sounded like a New Jeans record kind of because it was like tech housey, kind of UK garagey kind of whatever. And I was like, oh, it's like now it's like New Jeans is old. What's that?
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
We were just talking about that with Syed on our last episode. That
Oh, yeah?
Since New Jeans kind of crashed and burned, that sound that's associated with them now has no leader. Like it's a vacuum. And so I think folks are maybe running in the other direction sound wise.
Wow. Well, I look forward to checking out that episode.
Yeah, it's coming out soon.
This one, sound-wise, for me, is more reminiscent of like very, very specifically Blackpink's Ice Cream. Like,
oh yeah. With Selena Gomez.
Specifically with like the actual elements of like the samples of like what sounds like an ice cream van siren. There's little hints of that in the production. But to me, this leans a little bit more into that kind of like almost Teddy sound, you know?
Yeah. Anyway, gave me
this
a nice...
is not one I would have ever clicked on, so thank you for...
It's very funny.
Just keeping it real.
Yeah.
It's cute. It's delightful in the K-pop way.
Yeah.
But Stephanie, what is your hit replay for this week?
So my hit replay is another pretty cute girl group. It's Stacey, Lover Killer. Party girls, it's going down. That's
In
one of my
Nihongo.
favorite.
This
This is a Japanese release, and I was like, can I? I think we've showcased Japanese releases before. It's still in the K-pop fam, and Stacey,
2020, right?
Yes, I just got it. Stacey is a 6-member girl group that debuted in 2020, formed by High Up Entertainment. Stacey really had a strong debut, and I've been following them since then. And this song caught my eye a couple days ago, caught my ear rather, because it feels like a spiritual successor to some of my other favorite girl group releases. Stacey Stereotype, Twice Fancy. I'm noticing a connection, or like that sound coming back. It's not as common these days. Like you said, John, we're in this like transitioning out of the new jeans minimalist sound, girl next door, boy jeans. And I'm here for a return to like that fancy and stereotype sound. I was looking into it, and somebody said Miami bass maybe is the type of beat that we're hearing there. And I looked up other Miami bass K-pop songs, and I was like, oh yeah, that is a beat that I like. I tend to like all the songs that have this element. So I, of course, appreciate the body roll breakdown part in the hook. I'm like, hey. And then it comes back to like powerful minor chord aegyo is maybe something that I enjoy here. So yeah, I just wanted to share it with y'all.
Love that.
Yeah. I thought
Lover
John might
killer.
like it too. Yeah, the choreo is like super cute. You know, they're talking about I'm a killer.
Yeah.
I'm a lover, killer, and they like draw the sides of their smile out. Maybe like they're the Joker or some serial killer.
Whoa.
But it's like super aegyo too. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. That's kind of extra and creepy.
Yeah.
But I wonder if Rado is still producing them, because it was his group, the guy from Black Eyed Pills song. He was working with them in the beginning. I mean, like he wrote like TT and stuff. Like that guy's crazy, you know?
Oh, wow. Dang. Yeah.
But like he produced it or something. Anyway, yeah, he did ASAP for them, and he did Run.
Oh, Run to You?
Run to You, yeah,
that makes sense, yeah.
which is one of my favorite songs by. I think it's probably my favorite song by them.
Aww.
But I don't know if he's still working with them or not.
Maybe.
Because it's his group. He was cracking the whip in the beginning.
Cracking the whip.
You know, he was, because
yeah.
Did you see the show that they come from?
No.
Yeah, there was a survival show.
Of course.
And he was just like, "Are you guys being serious or not?"
Ooh.
Like there was a lot. I was like,
Okay.
"Whoa!" And the girls
Got
were just
him.
like, and he was just like, "This isn't a joke to me." Blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah blah. I was like, "Whoa."
Ooh. Man.
Yeah. So he's serious.
Yeah. Okay. So looking at the credits for Lover Killer, it includes composition by Honey Noise, Brown Panda, and Ayushi. Have we heard of any of them? Michaela?
These are probably Japanese producers.
Maybe. Yeah. And someone named Kosho wrote the lyrics. So
That sounds
okay.
Japanese.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's my hit replay. Passing it on to PD Nim. What you got?
Yeah, so my hit replay for this week is a special collaboration OST song with NMIX and World Street Woman Fighter. It's their song Ridin'.
Riding with the crew, booty butcher. Riding with the crew, sorry no good. Covered up in jewels, that's a must have. What you trying to do? We have no break. Keep on sounding the lights out, gonna break it up. Riding with the crew, that's Thursday. Only tell you that's a girl thing. What you trying to do? Tell it, yeah. You can buy that thing up,
So for people that don't know, World of Street Woman Fighter has been going on for the past few weeks, and it is the Mnet dance survival show where teams from all over the world come to compete for the title of Woman Street Woman Fighter. To be honest, I'm really just talking about this song, not because of the song, because I really just want to talk about the show. I mean, right?
Yeah.
It's a great song. For the past few years since the street fighter like shows have been going on with like what was it, Man Street Fighter or something. Anyway,
Man Street Fighter.
I can't remember what the boy version is called. I only care about Street Woman Fighter. But the OSTs from this dance show have really kind of taken over, especially when it comes to a lot of like the hip hop hits of the year.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of K-pop artists collaborating to do original songs for this show, and this is one that NMIX did for the show, which makes sense that NMIX is on this OST because Mr. JYP is on the panel of judges for this season, along with Mike Song and Aaliyah Janelle, which has been crazy seeing her energy and her input on all of the performances that have been going on. But Raiden is my hit replay one because it's kind of the first, kind of K-pop choreography specific thing that we've seen from the show. And the girls from AG Squad, which is the team representing Australia, which is mostly composed of former members of the royal family from New Zealand, who is also on this season.
Wow.
So it's just been... they did an amazing composition for the performance, so you should definitely go check that out. But overall, I feel like my guess for this season is that either AG Squad or Bums Up is going to take it, because Bums Up is the Korean team representing Korea this year, and it feels like, or at least from past seasons, that I don't think Mnet is not going to give them at least the Korean team at least runner up, right?
What's with the name Bums Up?
It's bum in Korean is tiger.
Okay.
So it's like we're the tigers are rising, I guess.
No doubt. Stephanie, what you snacking on over there? I want some.
Sorry.
Let me get some of that.
I was just really hungry and didn't eat breakfast before this. I've got some sunflower season
Stephanie,
blueberries.
have you seen any of the street?
I've seen some of the clips. How do we watch it? How do we stream the actual show?
Luckily, because finally this season they're actually releasing it on streamers, and we don't have to go to like CD third-party sites to watch it. So in the US,
that's what I was expecting.
You can watch it on Apple TV and Amazon Prime.
Oh,
with
okay. That's accessible.
A subscription to CJE and
there. Man, I gotta pay for this one show. Okay. Yeah, I might head to the pirate sites anyway.
There is a 1 week free trial though, so maybe if you want to wait till
it's over and then binge it.
True.
All right, that's the move. That's what we're doing.
That's the move.
Okay, K-Popcast watch party.
No doubt.
Woo. Well, thanks for sharing this. Like, I get clips from the show in my like TikTok for you page, and I'm like, ooh, I can't wait till it is accessible for me to actually watch these full episodes, because the talent has just like
the
skyrocketed.
Drama, the talent. We have 4 English speaking teams, so I'm like really into. I get more direct translations of the shade that is being thrown on this show.
Nice.
It's been great. But let's move on to our main topic of discussion. DJ John, we're covering Head in the Clouds, right? Because you were actually there, unlike us. We were just watching live streams and clips.
Yeah, actually, it was cool. Big shout out to my guy Mike Lieberman over at 88 Rising, who hooked it up. We've had a pretty strong relationship over the years with promo, and he's the one that got me an interview with Jackson Wang a few years ago. And he's been, like when Atarashi Gakko was starting, he got me in with them, which was cool. And just over the years, he's been great. So he got me VIP access and media access, which was great.
What?
Wow. That was hard to get.
Yo.
Yeah, really hard to get. And he just hooked it up, and I was just like, amazing. Like he was just like, okay, is that cool? And I'm like, is that cool? Like, thank you so much,
Yeah.
And so I went in there, and I mean, it was hot because I drove from the Bay to there, and it was like 97 degrees in the car. And I was just like, dude.
My bad.
So I just like, when I got to the event, it was like lines, even for the VIP, like the general audience in the line. So if you get VIP, expect to be in a line. It's crazy.
Yeah. For people who don't know, Head in the Clouds took place this year in Pasadena.
At the Rose Bowl.
Ooh, that's hot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was outside. It was hot. It was just, so I had make sure you have a cooling towel, because those come in handy. And just
can we back up a little bit and introduce, like, for those who haven't heard of this festival, for those who haven't heard of 88 Rising, just like a little primer.
Okay. Yeah. So if you don't know about 88 Rising, they're an Asian music label, I would say. And they have a channel on Sirius XM now. You know that, right? And I think Sean is the name of the guy that heads it up. I believe that's his name.
The original.
Yeah. And so they just have groups from all over Asia, and including some, I think they were working with XG when they started. So they're an Asian American label. And
Asian American, right?
Yeah, run out of Los Angeles. And I'm not sure if they have an office in San Francisco or not. But anyway, so they throw a festival for the past 5 years called Head in the Clouds, where they just showcase all of their artists, and then they work in collaboration with other artists.
Yeah,
Stephanie's
with a focus on like the Asian diaspora in general.
Yeah, exactly. So not only K-pop, but also J-pop and Indonesian acts. I think, I feel like, like Rich Brian is on their label, and they recently were working with G Idol, which is now Idol, right?
Right.
And
it says the company gained popularity as a label primarily for artists like Joji, Keith Ape, Rich Brian, Nicki. Like, those are some of the biggest names to come out of there.
So like hip hop kind of thing. And then they were working with Team Wang for Jackson.
Yeah.
Yes.
They were heading a lot of that up, and BB they've been doing stuff with, and XG, I mentioned them.
Dumbfounded, Ryan Puspos. So they work with a wide variety of folks from the U.S. and the Asian diaspora.
And I wasn't at the previous ones, but they've had K-pop acts on there. And then this year, the headliners were G-Dragon and 21.
Yeah.
And they had Dean and Tabor. Oh. And it was, you guys, you can watch the replays, but when the first night before G-Dragon went on, I think it was the first night. Yeah. Tabor comes out, and it's just like, amazing. The beats sounded good because the sound system was pretty great, and there was about 40,000 people in the place.
Yes.
So, and then like halfway through his set, you see the dude in the cowboy hat come out, and it's Dean, and he started. A collective gasp from all
wild.
of the ladies in the audience.
Oh,
they were going nuts.
I bet.
Screaming, crying, and all of that. And he was just out there going, "Hey, are we ready to party?" kind of thing. It was just a collective scream. And, and he did everything.
Man.
I mean, and then obviously toward the end, he just broke it down and stared doing Instagram, and everyone lost it.
Yes.
All the hits.
But he sang,
Instagram kind of had a Western crossover moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I can back up a little bit before that,
Please,
they had some of the rookie groups like Nona, which is I think they're Indonesian.
They're good.
They're very good. And they came out and did their two songs, and then they did a cover of Janet Jackson, Pleasure Principle.
What?
Yeah. Like taking it way back, because their
smart.
sound is very much like that industrial pop thing. So
from back
they were doing that, and they killed it. Everyone loved it, and then so that was pretty incredible. And
their set was part of what was like they called the magic show showcase, right?
That was the second time, but the first time they just came out by themselves. Like it was more during the day, and the first day, so Saturday. And they were, they killed it. And then, so then they came out, they did their thing. And so let's fast forward back to where G-Dragon was going to start.
Yes.
And because that's what people wanted to hear about. And it was funny. It was like, everyone's waiting. And then finally his DJ comes on. And that guy, I don't know who he was, but he was like an OG. He looked like he was my age. And he got on the mic. He just had his sunglasses on. He was just like, "You guys ready to party?" And he was a master. He handled it. He handled the crowd. He was dropping records.
Okay.
And they were doing a good job with the camera work and stuff. And he was killing it. And then he was just like, "You guys ready for G-Dragon?" Everyone like screaming, 40,000 people. And the lights go out, and then we're waiting for like a minute, and then like another minute, and then everybody just starts laughing, and then we're like, well, all right, what's happening? And then finally, The Power starts. That's the song by G Dragon, one of his latest.
Yeah.
And then he comes out, and everyone goes nuts. And he was just like, I mean, it had been however long. 8 years. Yeah, since
8 years. 2017 was the last time this man set foot on a stage in the United States.
Yeah. So people were ready, and he was just relaxed, and he was funny. It was just like watching a rich guy. He was like watching like a super celebrity like Liberace or something come out. Like, hello, public. He's just like, oh, it's been good. And like he kept on doing it because he had that crazy looking jacket. You can see it online. His jacket was crazy. His hair was pink, and it was just like he's just coming out, and he just has this attitude, and he's just kind of dirt off your shoulders the whole time.
Oh,
and he was
yeah,
just, like,
that's what we come for.
That was he was just doing this the whole time, just like posing. It was hilarious, and but he delivered. I mean, like he had the dance moves down, and it was very like effortless. He was, I mean, he's a vet, obviously.
Yuxi. I would expect nothing less.
So
from G Dragon to like not even like break a sweat really, but like just exude swag and aura.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, that was, he delivered that. And then he did actually communicate with somebody in the crowd, and I forget the details. It's kind of fuzzy, but he stopped, and somebody yelled something nice in Korean to him, and he said, "What was that?" And then he said something back, and it like blew the place up. So he knew what he was doing. Pattern recognition. He knew how to handle everything. So that was incredible. And then once that was over, we jetted for the evening, and it was hilarious. Asian people are very calm, and it wasn't like a mayhem mad dash for anything. Everyone was just like, at a good clip, getting to the exits, and I just walked in my car, went back to the hotel.
Respectable.
And then the next day I was just like, all right, it's not going to be as hot. So I was happy about that. But hanging out in the media tent, I was hanging out with some influencers and some people that were just doing social media stuff. And
because those were the people that were easily able to get the VIP access because
right. So they had VIP and media access. So we were actually hanging out in the media tent, and my 88 Rising guy would come by with acts, and so I got to meet some of them and interview some of them, and those are going to be coming up on my socials. So
oh my gosh,
so day
exciting.
2 was cool because that's where most of the action happened. The first day there was a rapper by the name of Jonah Love who's new to 88 Rising's label, and he's pretty good. Like, and the second day I got to see his show, and he puts on a good show. He rapped like there was no lip syncing. He was rapping his heart out.
Okay.
And he did a good 15-minute thing. So it was good to meet him, and I interviewed him for a little bit, and he just told me about. He grew up near Fresno, I think.
Michaela, everybody looks at her.
I believe so,
My neck of the woods?
I think so.
Hey,
yeah,
Fresno,
so
stand up.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that interview because, you might know him. So anyway, so he was cool. And then there were other, there was people that were, like, just doing stuff on TikTok. And I was just asking them about that. I was like, how do you do it? And they were just like, it's all skits.
Hello, fellow
it's all
kids.
skits.
How do you do
So, like, like they had, like, Jonah grab all the snacks and run off, just like things. And I was just sitting there going, all right, that's what you got to do. All right. Good. I love that for you. I
love that for you.
Yeah. So then, the second day comes around, and Mike, from 88 Rising, he's just like, all right, get ready for some interviews. And I was like, okay. So he brings Rich Brian by.
Wow.
And I didn't really interview him, because he was busy with other things, and then I had to go do something else. But I have some B-roll footage. It'll be in the videos. And then he brings Xin Liu, who is a Chinese singer, and
R&B.
had a pretty incredible performance on day 1. And so she came by, and I got to interview her, and then she had an interpreter, so that was really cool. So that'll be up soon.
She has an androgynous look.
Yeah. She's very dry. On stage, super energetic and full of everything. And I'm just like, how do you have so much energy? And she was just like, well, and just real quiet. And I'm like, oh, because you reserve it for the rest of the time. So anyway, it was great. And then The next group that I interviewed was Nona, which was awesome. So they came by and I got to talk to them for a little while. And they were super sweet and very like, this is a dream come true for us and all of this. And so they were really nice. And so that interview will be up to. And then I didn't really interview her, but Millie was there. She was in the tent, and I got to sit down with her for a minute and just talk just about what she's doing. But she was so distracted. She had makeup going on, and I was like, yo, could I get a radio drop for me? And she was like, oh, sure. And so she gave me a DJ John shout out. So I was like, all right, good. I got that. Because that was
quick
really,
thinking on your part.
That's really what I was there for the most part, just selfishly, because it's like, if I'm doing K-pop mixes, I would love to have these artists' name on, saying my name, shouting me out on the mixes. So, and then later on in the day, Jackson was in the tent. He was hanging out, and because he was going to do, he had his thing, and he was real low key, and I didn't really want to bother him, and I texted Michael, and I was like, is he busy? What's going on? Can I get a shout out? And he's just like, ask their management. So I was like talking to the manager, and he was like, yeah, we're a little busy. And I was like, that's okay. I was like, well, I already did a whole interview with him a few years ago.
Exactly.
I just wanted to get some update. And he was just like, let's just hold off. And I was like, okay. But I was hanging out. I got a little bit of B-roll, like sneaky B-roll of him just chilling. So I'll share that with you guys.
Great.
And who else? I mean, there were a bunch of other people. Do you know Yuha? She had that record, A Bit Tipsy, a long time ago, like maybe 2020.
I've heard that name, but I can't place the song.
She's written a lot of records for like a bunch of K-pop groups. Like she wrote One Spark or something for Twice. But she's her own thing, and that's on my Instagram. She's like, we have a selfie together on my Instagram. But she has that, one of my favorite songs in K-pop called A Bit Tipsy.
A Bit Tipsy, I see that.
It's really good, yeah.
She wrote Luna Paint the Town and Not Friends.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, she's written
so she
for
had a
Tribe and Billy. And,
Yeah,
okay.
She and another act, YY, were on stage doing their thing. Just kind of like, but she's got some skills. Like she can sing, and then she was also like, she's like Miss Twerk. Like, you can't stop the twerk with her.
Oh yeah,
it's hilarious. Like she
I'll
just
have to go look up her clip.
She's always twerking.
Always twerking. Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop me. But so it was cool to like hang out with them for a few minutes, and then who else? Eve, I think they're a K-pop group, or maybe they're Indonesian. I'm not sure, but they were there, and I got to just like get a group photo with them.
Thai. Thai girl
Thai
group.
Yeah, that's right. And they were super delightful and cute and nice and all that. So that was really cool. I'm trying to remember who else was there. There were a couple other people that I got to say hi to. Obviously, it's like, G-Dragon and 21, which was the second night, 21.
Yeah.
They were like off the plane and then on the stage and then back on the plane kind of thing. I'm sure they were hanging out at private after parties or whatever, but like not even the artists. Because I was talking with Nona about getting, I was like, do you want to collaborate with anyone? And they're all just like, oh, we're here for 21. They're like, we hope we get to meet them. And I'm like, oh, I'm sure you will. And in my mind, I'm going, no, actually, they might not be able to, but they might. I don't know. They were there. So. And so, fast forward to that night, it was, and Higher Brothers were there. They're a rap group out of China.
Higher Brothers, yeah.
They were pretty crazy. All the groups did a great job, and they were well received. The DJs that were there were really good. Porter Robinson, he was there, and he killed it. I mean, a lot of the EDM stuff is just they do it at home and then they just press play basically and then it's like, here, listen to my album, you know what I mean? And sure. but it's good. It's like, they'll do remixes of contemporary songs or whatever. Everybody played Nokia. It was, it's funny how like Kendrick Lamar like took Drake out but didn't take anybody out or do anything. It's like, so that was a big record that weekend.
But the DJ sets, though, in comparison to like just crowd reception, because I'm really curious about this, because especially when it comes to the festivals of this scale that we have here in the States, or at least ones that would have similar artists. The only other comparison that I have, or at least one that's based in LA, would be KCON. And KCON tries to do things that Head in the Clouds does, where these past few years, they've had like DJ showcases and DJ sets, but they're usually in like these small spaces outside.
Yeah, they do
But
like
with,
K
with
Club.
the Head in the Clouds more receptive to these DJ performances.
They were. I mean, it depends on who it is. You know, sometimes when you want to go see an artist because you like their work, like Porter Robinson, who's a producer, then you go see their work. They're like, okay, and then they're weaving in K-pop songs, but they're just remixing them. You know, and then it's part of their thing. If they're actually DJing, it's they probably just create vignettes and they might go in and out, but they're not crowd reading. They're not like, it's not like a hip hop DJ where like you get to the place and you're just like, what is the vibe like? And then you adjust to whatever the room's doing.
Right.
Electronic dance music is more like, here, I've prepared this and I'm going to press play and pantomime the set pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that about every EDM DJ, but that pretty much goes for every EDM DJ. I mean, David Guetta just stands there with like this, you know what I mean?
He does.
So it's kind of like, there's a whole joke, I forgot what the comedian, Russell Peters made a joke about like, yeah, I got real DJs, you know, behind me, because he was talking about Spin Bad when he was with him, and he's just like, I don't know about these EDM guys. I mean, like, if their hands are in the air, what are they mixing with? And ha ha ha, you know. Anyway.
Yep.
So it was okay. E-Man from Power 106 was the opening DJ for day one, and he killed it. He was actually like mixing live, and he was interacting with the crowd, talking on the mic.
Yeah.
YY, who was Yuna's friend, was DJing at the beginning of day two.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was cute, you know, like it was just kind of like just playing songs, really. I definitely like, you know, hopefully I'm going to try to get my foot in the door and try to DJ some of this stuff. Because it's like, you know, in the beginning of day two, we're all like wiped from G-Dragon. And like, I know people were just
and G-Dragon went on late.
He was the last one. He's the headliner for day one. So when we came back, I mean, everyone was exhausted from heat from the yesterday. And then I would have just started playing like Zion T, you know what I mean? And just like play like IU classics and just like been like totally chill vibes, you know?
Chill vibes to start.
Yeah, and then maybe ramp it up into a little bit more energy to fit with the other acts. But a lot of these DJs were just going hard. Like I was just like, wow, like just chill.
First thing in the
I mean, it was the afternoon, you know, to be fair. It was 1 p.m., but still it was just like, I feel like people needed a little bit more of an intro. Anyway, I digress. All that to say that 21 delivered that night. They came out. And actually, like, let me backtrack a little bit, because I forgot to say that when G-Dragon brought CL out on stage and they were like, what's up? Everyone lost it, you know.
What's up?
Yeah.
What's up?
Killed it. She came out there. It was like Lil' Kim or something. It was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, 21 comes out, minus Park Bomb, unfortunately. But they still killed it. They had the moves. They were doing all kinds of craziness on stage, full of energy, doing all their hits. Obviously, second to last was, you know, I Am the Best.
I Am the Best.
They had to. And then they just did like their last record. And then that, you know, everyone, it was full of energy, crazy, and everyone's screaming. And then they're like, okay, we'll be back in whatever, 15 minutes. Or I don't know if it immediately started after.
Did they have one of the biggest crowds that you saw, or the size of their audience? Okay, yeah,
definitely.
All right,
you know, it was
affirming.
It was a lot. It was definitely a sea of people.
Yes.
And so then, like, you know, later on in the night, Jackson comes out, and some people weren't expecting him because he's not billed on there.
He was a last minute addition.
Nah,
no. Or I'm thinking of KCON. Sorry.
Yeah, that's KCON.
Announced last minute for KCON.
But yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's what I thought the magic show was gonna be. I thought that they were teasing the magic show as like that he was gonna do like his Magic Man Part 2 performance, like he did at Head in the Clouds a few years ago.
Well, yeah. In terms of expectations, it was, you know, he came out and did his, you know, his "Gotta Be a Dick" sometime. You know, like he was just doing that, but he did that for like 10 minutes. So like he's walking around with a posse of like 50 people.
It was just,
and they're all just like
hanging out on stage with his friends.
Basic. And people, you know, like they were all like, you know, it's Jackson Wang. And so everyone's going nuts. It was just a little bit of an energy kind of like, all right, now we're back here. Because that's such a mellow, gloomy record.
So mellow, yeah.
And, you know, It was fine. I just was like,
dip.
yeah, and I was like looking on Reddit and stuff, and people were kind of like a little bit underwhelmed by it.
Yeah.
And, whatever. But it was cool. Like it was still good to see, and everybody like on stage. It was kind of like a big, whatever.
Definitely on social media, everybody was like, "Oh, he's bringing this person. Oh, he's hanging out with that person, or that artist,
that's
or
what
that
it was
social
about.
media guy, or like." So it was,
Yeah.
Sure.
So, he did the job, and then I think Rich Brian took it home, and then we were done, and then we just like everyone was out like shout, but it was definitely an awesome experience that I'll never forget. They had like, the place was so big because they had the 2 stages, and they're like half a mile apart.
Yeah.
So it's like, and they were very tight. Like, one thing would end and immediately on the other stage, the next thing would start. So it was just kind of like you had to pick what your battles are going to be, especially in the heat. Because if you wanted to, you probably would get like a gazillion steps in if you wanted to like
going
see
back
something.
and forth to see everything.
And I certainly did. Like, I definitely was good for the weekend in terms of
you look
step
like
count.
You got a little bit of a tan.
Yeah, well, burn. Now it's kind of like turning into like a regular whatever. But yeah, and it was fun. Yeah, so yeah, in terms of like an experience, it was pretty amazing because
was Head in the Clouds 2025 Daebak for you?
Definitely. Oh, of course.
Definitely Daebak.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wish you guys could have gone. Maybe next year.
Yeah, maybe next year.
The whole reason I moved
from my couch viewing.
Bring us along.
That's what I mean.
Bring us in the press team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like if we can like, I'm gonna just keep building. That's why I'm out here. It's like I moved to the West Coast to do this. So it's just like I'm trying to build social media. I mean, that's really the game. And Michaela and I were talking earlier. It's like I'm Gen X, so I really hate social media a lot. And I understand that it's necessary, but it's just like it's really difficult for me personally to just do this stuff because it's like I don't like it. But
of course,
but that's why I have to get advice from Stephanie, who's the OG.
Oh, please. I'm millennial. I'm passe already with.
Yeah, but the whole mechanics behind all of it. So
I guess for my time working at YouTube. So speaking of which, shall we pass it to Michaela for the YouTube live stream experience?
Oh yeah,
well, we talked about this a little bit in just comparison with Head in the Clouds has always had very great camera work. It's always been a really great viewing experience from the live stream.
True.
In comparison to like the Coachella or Lollapalooza, which is sometimes just like a static camera
from far away,
and you can maybe see. Well, if you're watching the free one, if you're watching the
I'm watching the free one.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's always been an amazing experience. I was mostly focused on with my little time that I had available that weekend to just focus on the Dean stage and the G-Dragon 2NE1 stages. But the little bits of the other acts that I saw, mostly Millie, like she's been up and coming, especially in as far as like international audience for the past few years, and so it's just been great to see her grow specifically on the Head in the Cloud stage.
Yes, definitely. She has more energy than anybody. Like,
I could feel the energy from my couch. Like that's what I'm saying. Like she's an amazing performer.
Yeah, she's out for blood. Like she's definitely a fighter. I mean, that's her whole thing. But yeah, she's tiny. She's like literally this tall.
Yeah. I love that.
I was like, hi, you know what I mean? But yeah, she's so much energy and attitude. It's just like you're scared of her,
Hey.
Yeah. Stephanie, was there any other performances from clips that you saw?
No, I mean, I just really enjoyed G-Dragon's
same.
performance. I was just like,
we're both very biased for this.
I know.
Yeah.
I still, and I've been to so many K-pop shows, and I still go back to the one time I saw him perform like decades ago at this point as being like setting a bar as a performer. And so just so glad that he's back.
I wonder what 88 Rising is going to do for the next one, like, because they had 21. I don't know if they're going to continue with K-pop or what. It's like,
I mean, why not? This was like one of the questions on my mind, and I think a question that's coming up on TikTok and Twitter is 88 Rising started more as Asian American artists and
hip-hop
are now
artists, right.
Asian American hip hop artists, and now are bringing in more K-pop as headliners. And so I'm hearing kind of mixed feelings from some of the fans of the Asian American hip hop artists who feel maybe that they're getting deprioritized or K-pop is coming in, but it might be the direction that they need to go economically. I don't know, John, if you have any insights or predictions.
Well, we've discussed this, Stephanie, like how we've, how the hip hop community and the Asian hip hop community are really siloed. And it's like, Peter and I are doing our night tonight, actually, at Lions Den with, hip hop. We're doing like throwback hip hop and K-pop because to me they're so similar, and it's easy to mix them together because it's like, this song sounds like this song and this song sounds like this song, and that's how you DJ. That's how I DJ anyway. And so finding the similarities is easy. But for some reason, I'm not sure what it is, but it's like hip hop people are like, because I'm a hip hop DJ, and it's like, listening to K-pop, you could dismiss it as being like hip hop light or R&B light, but I don't know. Like, to me, it's just like, there's so many producers that like are legit Western producers, and it's like some of it's copycatty and some of it's kind of like goofy and cheerleadery or whatever, but the production is undeniable. And then the fact that like it's selling to children is undeniable. And this is, I've said this to you before. It's like, this is the second coming of hip hop with the business model of Motown.
Yes, Motown.
And it's like, this is what's happening.
It's still, you're still hearing the original stuff, like from Motown. The sounds that we do really respect are still woven through K-pop. That's why it's so catchy and the production is so high. It's because that model is still there.
And the work ethic, which good and bad. It's just like, you want everyone in lockstep here. And
right. The good and the bad of it.
And also, for the hip hop part of it, it's like they're still sampling like the stuff that I like. They're still sampling like ultimate breaks and beats records and like, breakbeat records from the 70s and 80s.
Exactly.
And copying those sounds again. And meanwhile, we're kind of over here mumbling and being depressed. And I just, and I don't want to say anything bad about it. It's just like, because I do like some of it, but it's just a flavor that I didn't wish was encompassing everything. Because it's like the pandemic's over. Like let's go back outside and get some sunshine. Let's go talk. Let's try to talk to each other and stop having phone brain. It's like here's an example of music that like can bring all the kids together and maybe combat some of this. So I look at it that way, but I think it's hard for a lot of like hip hop people to kind of accept that. But I think it's coming around, and I think that like it's up to like this next generation that does embrace K-pop to kind of just go, all right. This is what it is. It's not a fad. Like you thought hip hop was. It's funny how this is full circle. Because back when I was growing up, it's just like people were just like, that's not music. They're just talking.
Hip hop?
They're just talking over a beat. That's not even music.
Wow.
That's what I got when I was growing up. And now, like from the hip hop heads, are like, yo, this isn't real. And I'm just going, do you remember? So, and then funnily enough too, is like from the K-pop side, maybe it's just a maturity thing, but it's like a lot of kids, it's like, dancing at the club is different because it's like you the choreography, but you're not going to dance to like other things. And I'm just like, all you got to do is the two-step. Nobody cares. You know what I mean? There's no pressure. You don't have to know every single finger move of the choreo from whatever the chorus is.
You know when I'm there at the party, I'm dancing to everything.
Yeah,
whether I know the choreo or not.
You got to role model. Teach the kids.
Teach the kiddos. Okay.
So anyway,
join me.
That's kind of how I look at it. But it is interesting how like 88 Rising is kind of having to thread that needle in the future. But they'd be smart.
They're in a tough position, and they have such a huge opportunity here, given that they have hands in both the hip hop scene and in K-pop and like in Indonesian, Thai, Chinese, Filipino, all of these scenes that I'm just noticing on my For You page on TikTok. My YouTube algorithm is has been steadily sending me those artists. They know that I'm into K-pop, and they are like, hey, you would probably like this, and they are right. The production quality, the songs, the choreo, it is on the rise, let me tell you, for the like outside of Korea pop groups.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
It makes me so excited for the next 10 years because this was the Head in the Clouds that celebrated the 10 years of 88 Rising.
Mm-hmm.
And so considering how far we've come now in the past 10 years, I'm like, I can't wait. Like it's going to be great.
Woo. It's a whole world of music to enjoy.
And it's also like infectious, and people really don't know anything about it. Like one of my buddies from back east, I was showing him K-pop stuff, and he was just like, this is like a whole other thing. And I'm like, yeah.
Where have you been? Yeah.
but it's like, where was I? You know, I mean, I only got into K-pop in 2019, so I was like, where have I been?
That's true. Where have you been?
But like thinking about that, it's so easy because it's all here on a silver platter for all of these record labels to make money from, you guys.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm just like, come on, let's get it popping. You know, like your depressing acts are not selling. And these guys are selling to kids. They're buying physical copies of CDs. When was the last time somebody bought a rap album? Never.
Never.
Like maybe like back in the 50 Cent Kanye beef or something in 2008. That was the last time anybody bought an album. But like no one's buying. I mean, maybe they buy a Taylor Swift Folklore vinyl. But they're buying like super albums. They're buying, you know. Yeah. They're buying these albums. Everything's a box set. And they're making tons of money, and it's weird how these record labels aren't going, hey, why are these guys making so much money? You know, like, hey, we could make this money. Duh, they already have a deal with JYP's like roster.
They're dismissive for many reasons. I guess
so, but to me, dollar signs is like, hey,
you would think that.
Speaking of that, like, you know, Jay Park's collabo with Ty Dolla $ign. There's a lot of collabos coming, so I don't know.
Jay Park tour.
Glorilla.
Yeah.
J-Hope and Glorilla.
Yeah, Glow. Yeah, Glow.
Yeah, Glow. Let her cook. Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much, DJ John, for coming here.
Thank you.
Your wisdom, your insights, the report back from Head in the Clouds, making us feel like we all got to go with you behind the scenes.
I was also backstage secretly filming Jay Jackson.
Creeping on everybody.
Shameless.
Totally.
Whatever.
I mean, like, I had the camera out anyway, so I was just kind of pointing in different directions. So I'll upload
and you were
all
VIP.
That.
It wasn't shady.
Right.
You were allowed to have that camera out.
Okay. I like your attitude. You can be my agent. I appreciate that.
Yeah, defend him. No, we just really appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too.
Aw. Thanks. So we're going to wrap up our episode reviewing Head in the Clouds 2025 by letting our listeners know where they can find us on the dreaded social medias. DJ John, you're up first. Where can we follow you?
Okay. Well, my name is John, spelled Jon. So I'm at djjohn.com for everything. And DJ John Official is across most platforms. So that's me.
Sweet. You can find me on Instagram at Catchlight27.
You can find me at PDNim on our K-Pop Cast Slack, and you can find all of us on the K-Pop Cast Slack. And also, of course, if you want to support our show, please consider donating to our Ko-fi. Shout out to Chelsea H. Girl, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Woo. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Peace.